everyone. My name is Bobby Joe Smith III. I go by he, him pronouns. And my lovely co-fellow here is,
Hi, I'm Nat Decker. I use they, them pronouns, and I am an artist and designer, access worker, and very grateful to be collaborating with Bobby Joe on this 2023 Processing Foundation Fellowship that's called Sketching Access. And I also wanted to just quickly draw attention to the font that says Sketching Access. Oh, we went ahead. Um,
I'll go
just
back.
really just this font is the letters are taken from the 504 sit-in protest posters, and it's a font made by Emily Sarah, who's a really fantastic artist and designer, disabled artist and designer. And then, we wanted to ground our conversation in calling for a free Palestine, expressing our solidarity with people in Palestine who are experiencing violent genocide by the Israel state, want to express solidarity for all oppressed people, but in this moment, just want to take any opportunity to really vehemently, repeatedly call for a ceasefire.
One of the things that we really wanted to kind of keep intact, though, regardless of what pieces we started to actually build out and what seemed feasible, was a particular type of feedback loop that would allow for us, for processing in P5JS, as well as the people who are engaged with it, to state what their values are around the community and how they want people to be able to access it. And then be able to find ways to figure out, like, how does it really apply to how people engage with processing in P5JS? How do we reinforce those values through those connections and interactions? And how do we continue to grow and restate and refigure out and really reflect what it is that we need in our communities? And from there, go back and reshape the access statement. That way, making it a living document, not something that is just posted once and tucked away someplace, but something that keeps coming up and guides us in how we move and interact.
I know for me personally, as a disabled person of crip time, and which describes the unique ways disabled, chronically or neurodivergent people experience time and space. So just our need sometimes to allow this project to take the time it needed and have slowness. And I think another theme in this moment when some resistance to the pressures of productivity and staying really grounded in the meaningfulness of us engaging in deep research and taking our time and learning about each other and learning about what we want to do as collaborators.
There was a whole team, there was a great number of people who came together and had discussions about what should access look like within the processing in P5JS community. What things do we feel like we can uphold? And how should we state like what our commitment is to community? And for me personally, that was something that drew me to P5JS and processing was initially is like how it voiced itself, how it made itself seem more available to people than maybe some of the other documentation or other tech or code-based communities.
And then part of the project too, we were able to put together this resource library that is very, very much a work in progress. And it is on GitHub right now, but we're not sure if that is, you know, the only place or the right place. But I've been doing research into accessibility for the last few years and have, just encountered a lot of people that have created their own great tool sets, strategies, resource lists. And so I was just really wanting the opportunity to deepen my research into the subject, really take time to read some books. I wanted to just engage with more of these peers and figures working in the accessibility area, engage more deeply with their work. And so I was able to just compile a lot of resources that's on this GitHub.
There's so many movements that are involved in some of the language that we're using. There's so much context, there's so much background, and the concept even of accessibility means so much. In the
Well, hey everyone, I'm Stephanie Jones. And to this during this presentation, I'll be discussing this topic, but also this project, which I've entitled Black Life in the Age of AI. And so I am a scholar of race, technology, and learning. And this is one area of my research. And overall, I really ask questions about what does it mean to sustain Black life. One of the big aims of this project was speaking towards Black life amidst narratives of Black death. And so, how am I thinking about Black life? And I think of Black life as the everyday experiences of Black folks as we work towards survival and thriving in this world. This includes many topics like how we feel joy, how we use our agency, how we build community, and even how we experience pain. And so, it's really not a definition, it's a vibe. So that means this is not meant to be like a monolithic description of what Black people are experiencing in this world and acknowledging that it varies person to person. AI technology guzzles water enough to fill 22,500 Olympic sized pools. And so when we think about environmental racism, often it impacts those who are most marginalized and who have historically been redlined and whose communities are near sites such as power plants, nuclear waste, etc. And so AI is kind of contributing to this ongoing environmental racism issue. Uh, Black artists say AI shows bias with algorithms erasing their history. And so AI art is a really popular topic right now. People are like so excited about the generative power, but we also have seen how it generates and replicates racism. So if you search for a prisoner, an image of a prisoner in a generative AI system, the majority of the images will be of Black people. And so, what does it mean that the word prisoner is associated with capturing and enslaving, in modern terms, Black people? And so, the standards of artificial intelligence are often written by cis heterosexual white men. What does that mean for the replication of ideologies? What does that mean for the decisions about whose intelligence is valued? And what has that historically meant for who gets to be considered human and whose rights are prioritized? And so this project, Black Life in the Age of AI, is really exploring how does artificial intelligence as part of a broader socio-technical system affect Black life? And so some of my goals for this project were to create a resource for parties who are interested in these intersections of Black life and AI and to provide multiple entry points. This project is threefold. The first part is a syllabus, which is currently live. And then there's two other portions, which are meditations on AI, which are um, 30 to 45-minute interviews um, talking to different Black AI researchers and technologists thinking about different questions. And the third portion was a art gallery. And both the meditation on AI and art gallery are accepting submissions. So if you would be interested in participating in one of these interviews or creating art around one of these topics, please do check out the website. And so we have to be thinking about this as we're designing projects, as we're um, deciding to be users of these technologies, and think about like what are the steps we're taking to question the information that these algorithms provide, but also why are we um, helping build them out? Like, what does it mean to add data to algorithms, and that could potentially then be used to further suppress or harm you? And so within this section, I wanted to pick this one in particular because it shows like the variety of resources that I tried to highlight on the website. There's books, there's a documentary. So Dark Matters on the Surveillance of Blackness by Simone Brown offers an excellent history on surveillance at large. But if you want to understand like how is surveillance implicated in AI systems better, this documentary, Coded Bias, offers a digestible insight. So like my mom was looking at my syllabus, and she was like, I'm going to watch this documentary. And she said, now I can tell people about your work. Go watch the documentary. So even having that initial insight has come out of this work. I began with ideation and then lots of discussions with my mentor, Naima. And from there, I began collating resources, trying to figure out like what's the best. And that's where I got into a lot of reading, watching, and listening, trying to figure out like what's a quick read, what's a long read, and kind of balancing that. From there, I assembled the syllabi and I developed the website. And then I put out a call for interviews in art. And so far, I've hosted 3 different of these interviews, which I've entitled Meditations on AI. And these episodes are coming soon. The recordings are done. I'm just working on like getting the transcription so that if audio isn't accessible, that you also have a visual way to interact with that media.
To be able to start stewarding a tool in a community in some way that I interact with on a regular basis as an artist is a very different way for me to think about my practice and think about the projects that I'm working on. And also, what type of conversations do I want to have with this community that sometimes can feel pretty abstract, because it is open source and people are, when you put something online, it's like, who comes to it? But I see that active care and that active labor that you put into like how you put the resources together, who you invite in to have conversations with, and that sense of stewardship that's there. And I think it's a really fun and interesting and growing part of my practice. And it was really cool to see how you put yours together.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I appreciated about like both of our work is how we're trying to speak to different movements that are going on around the world and how technology has implications in liberation and justice. And how even in choosing to like make your website accessible, you're kind of making a stance about how you might treat other people. And so encouraging people to get involved in whichever ways they can. Like each entry point can lead you deeper. Learning more can lead you deeper.